Greetings and salutations, one and all. Welcome to another fantastic, absolutely fabulous, exciting, and wonderful week in Siege of the Empire. This is episode 40, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4, because I break them up into 4 parts for YouTube. Imagine that. It's incredible, it's amazing. I'm glad you all could be here with me. And after 40 weeks of doing this show, I think we are coming very close to the tumultuous conclusion. And some of you watching, some of the fans, may ask what that means. Well, that means that this campaign is going to end. And that with the same allotment of players, we're going to be starting a new one. We're going to be starting Act 3 of the campaign. So, if that is something that curious and is interesting to you, be sure to stay tuned and find out what that one is going to be all about. I'm sure there'll be lots more information coming up on that. However, without further ado, let me go ahead and jump in with our players and see how they're doing. Looks like we're still waiting for, wow, we're actually still waiting for the 2 that I expected to be here right on time. So let's go ahead and see what they've been doing.
Like the ceremony spell.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
The paladin picked that up in my Strahd game, and he said that before we go into the final battle, party needs to marry itself.
That's glorious.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh.
I'm glad you all could be here. It looks like Jackson is going to be just a few minutes late, but that's no problem because the only thing we're really missing out is his crazy story of the week, I'm sure. I'm just kidding.
What can I do without his crazy story?
I mean, it does set the tone for the entire session. So, I mean, it is of vital importance to all of us, if we're being completely honest with ourselves. However, we should go ahead and start and get this underway, because I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we need to talk about. So, Dalton, tell us about your week, how it's been, what you've been up to, and if anything cool or interesting has happened to you.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot. Essentially got demoted at work, so that's fun.
Rough.
Well, yeah, because my manager didn't know about it. The other managers just did it behind her back and my back, and just made someone else the assistant night manager. And I'm like, that's cool. Way to notify. So, yeah, the management at my workplace is really weak and shit. And other than that, though, been just hanging out. I'm on a 4-day weekend. My schedule is going to be changing a little bit. I'm going to be working Saturdays instead of Sundays now, due to the shift of management. But it's whatever. Other than talking to you earlier, not that much. So,
Is that your phone going off?
yeah, that was my phone going off.
There was a momentary blast of music from somewhere.
Oh, yeah, that's just Garrus.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
My message tone is Garrus. Saying one less to worry about.
Excellent.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
That is fantastic.
But yeah, that's pretty much been what's up with me.
Princely,
So.
hello.
Hello.
Will, tell us all about your week and what you've been doing.
My week's been alright. We've had house guests, which has meant I've actually had to come out my room and socialise.
Ew.
Gross.
Gross.
I know, right? So that's been eventful. But yeah, it's been a pretty good week. We've had some gorgeous days across the pond, so yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I can't say the same. It's been like 90 here all week.
Yeah, it's great. Fucking sucks.
Jackson, hello. You apparently weren't that late.
Yep.
Are you prepared to tell us about your week and what's been going on with you?
School ended.
Hooray! And I hear congratulations are in order.
That's right.
Congratulations, Jackson, on receiving. Did you say this is your master's?
No, this is bachelor.
Your bachelor's degree in IT security, I believe. Correct?
No, just information systems.
Information systems. Okay.
Information technology specifically.
Cool. So
Sounds fake, but congratulations anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. When does the next step start for you?
Hopefully, well, in a couple of months. I got a job lined up for Monday, you guys know.
Right, yes.
I'm going to be starting that. Also, I might be a little bit late to all games on Friday by about 10 minutes or so.
10 minutes is not a huge deal. We're still doing
Yeah.
introductions and stuff.
So, yeah. Other than that.
All right. Well, fantastic. Congratulations. And on the
Thank you.
job. And on your future.
Mm-hmm. It's bright and beautiful.
Which I'm sure is the first time anyone has ever said that about your life.
That hurts.
That was like unexpectedly harsh.
It's fine. It's fine.
Out of nowhere. The savagery.
Yeah. Pretty savage today. So good luck. Brian. Hello.
Hello.
Tell us about your week, sir, and what's been going on.
Nothing. It's been great. I love it. I'm back to my normality. It's fantastic.
What does that mean? Does that mean doing nothing? Is that
That
your
means
normal?
doing nothing.
Huh. Okay. Well, fantastic. I'm glad that one of us got to be lazy here, at least, instead of do important things like graduate and work, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I work, but I don't do anything at work, so it's great.
I can
I guard
attest
a
to
bunch
that.
of old people.
This week has actually been pretty slow at my job, so for no good reason at all. Probably because it's like 90 degrees outside, nobody wants to go outside. More than likely is the case. Megan, hi, hello.
Hello.
Tell us about your week. What's been going on?
What has been going on this week? I played some Divinity. I skipped work on Wednesday and went to one of the country's biggest flea markets, which was super fun and weird. Came across some pretty interesting things.
Yeah, there was Nazi memorabilia, right?
Yeah.
You sent me a picture of Nazi memorabilia or something like that.
There's some interesting stuff, man. Some weird Japanese armor? Question mark. Some.
It's like it almost looks like women's armor, like.
Oh yeah. It's super weird. Some interesting like old, like
handbook of Japanese explosive ordnance.
Yeah, it seemed pretty cool. I came across like this whole guy, this guy who had all this old, chemistry stuff from like 1930s, and like there are like apothecary bottles that basically are like headache remedy or whatever, and if you look at the actual side of it, it has like cyanide as part of the ingredients.
Please tell me you bought those.
No, actually, they were like ridiculously expensive because they were like unopened.
Do you realize how amazing that would be for like a D&D real life game?
It was like this whole set. It was like it was weird. It was this like old doctor's bag.
Right, like the black
how it was like the traveling
fold-out bag. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it was like it had like it was almost complete. Like it was almost had all of the potions and things in them. And I call them potions because it's not medicine. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah. No, I mean like so if you're dead, technically you don't have a headache anymore.
This is, you know what? This is a true statement. It had, cyanide. There's one thing in it, and I couldn't read what it actually was for, but it had arsenic and some other really interesting ingredients.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so that was fun to like look at all that.
How did the human race survive? I think is the real question.
I don't really know.
If
you look into
numbers.
If you have
sheer numbers,
sheer
overwhelming amount of procreation, is what you're saying.
Yeah, basically.
I come into procreation. What happened?
That's basically what we're talking about.
Yeah. If you look at the history of just medicine in general, it's like real interesting what they passed as medicine for like not that long ago.
Well, yeah.
So,
like leeches have always fascinated me. The use of leeches in like old school medicine, where they used right, yeah, they used to think that everything lived in the blood, right? They used to think like diseases and all this other stuff. So if you just leech somebody enough times, you can eventually get that disease out of them.
Yeah, and any like mental illness can be solved by just removing that part of the brain.
Right.
You know? That's totally fine.
Yeah, one of my favorite witch doctor cures is you drill 2 holes into somebody's head so that the bad spirits can go out one and the good spirits can come in the other.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah.
Totally
Legit.
legit medicine right there.
The best thing is some of the skulls that they found, actually some have some parts healing over, which means that some actually survived the operation but died due to infection.
Right, so, but like here's the interesting thing about like old school medicine. So these people, because we know about this and because we know this actually happened, the crazy part is it must have worked once, right? Like there must have been some rare thing that looked like something, like maybe some disease that did live in the blood, that some stroke of luck a leech was able to take it out and the person didn't have symptoms anymore, or coincidentally went into relapse. And so like then everybody just assumes, hey, this is clearly what you're supposed to do for that.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be so widespread to have these things occur if somebody didn't figure out something at some point.
There was one dude who got healed by chugging cyanide. There was one person.
Right, and there was probably like one dude that had like that was like acting all crazy because they had like inflammation of the brain, and the drilling the holes in the head probably drained all of the excess fluid and cured them, right? That's a thing that occurs nowadays. Like they have to drain fluid out of your brain because there's so much excess. And so it cured him, and then everybody's like, "Oh my god, this is actually what works, guys. Like this is what we need to do every time this happens." That's the interesting part.
True. But also, old school like medical research is also friggin' bananas. People who just volunteered to have like themselves cut open for science.
Totally.
It's like, all right, cool, great, yeah, sounds safe.
Also, on a side note, I've been playing a game recently.
Is it Surgeon Simulator?
No, it's Prey.
Oh, you got Prey, correct.
Well, I rented it from Redbox.
Oh,
and
I
gotta say, it was not one I was expecting, to be really good. It's really fantastic, actually.
It's been very well received in the community lately.
It kind of came out of nowhere.
Well, and so, like, it didn't come out of nowhere, but when you say it kind of came out of nowhere, I assume you mean, like, you hadn't really heard of it, you hadn't seen a whole lot of marketing for it, there wasn't, like, a whole lot of stuff about it. Yeah.
They didn't really talk about it that much.
Right, and so the reason for that is of Ubisoft's policy against releasing game for critics. It is Ubisoft's new policy since February, I think, to only release games to critics, to the press, one day before it releases. So nobody has time to talk about it, nobody has time to review it, nobody has time to give opinions on it before the game actually releases, and therefore it doesn't get as much coverage in like the game media or whatever, and not a whole lot of people hear about it. But they've been making such good games, like what was it? It was this, and then before this it was Doom. What's another?
Doom was really
right, and
good.
Doom was amazing, but like it didn't really take off like it should have, because of the fact that Ubisoft is refusing to give press copies to like critics and stuff. So, whatever.
Good for Ubi.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's good for anybody.
I think it's great.
But seriously though, I don't think it's great for anybody, because I mean, like, it can't possibly be good for Ubi, because if they do make a good game, nobody knows about it, and if they make a bad game, they don't have any time to fix it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lose-lose kind of on that end. Sure, if you do a good job marketing, you sell copies, but you know, you run a bigger risk, I think, if you don't give press copies out. I don't know. I don't work in that field, so maybe I'm wrong.
Still, it's a solid game, and it's a really big mind fuck.
Yeah, I haven't watched like gameplay. I haven't watched somebody play it, but I've watched like clips and stuff of people playing it. When like I saw a bunch of people doing reviews, and they talked about it on Drop Frames last week, and they talked about it on the Co-optional last week. So yeah, I've definitely seen some stuff about it. It looks really, really good.
What I love about it too is that how at the very beginning you're like being very stealthy, and you kind of like it involves a lot of very careful resource management.
Mm-hmm.
However, now that I've been able to manufacture neuromods and I have nearly maxed out my normal human mods, I can sprint across the entire levels. I can jump over enemies. I can flying shotgun kick them into the face.
Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome.
I will say though, telepaths make me run in fear, and so do the technopaths, and the nightmare. The nightmare is fucking horrifying.
Yeah, and I think that's like the point is like even at higher levels you're like not really designed to just run up and like go toe to toe with things. You still have to be a bit creative about it.
Yeah, a lot of it, like even with the running around thing, a lot of it has to do with surprise, and you either have to get surprised or you have to lay out a preparation. For instance, a lot of the creatures use psychic abilities, so you need those null wave grenades.
Right.
Otherwise, as soon as they start approaching you, they're able to lay the hate on you.
Right. Or I know there's like turrets and stuff, so you can set up like a kill zone.
Yeah, you can do that. I don't really do that too often, mainly for the fact that it requires you having to carry them around.
Right. Yeah. Totally.
But so what I typically do is that I will use mimicry, and I will run somewhere. I'll attract everybody's attention, and then I will go somewhere, and then I'll lay down a recycler charge. Then I'll hide as a nearby object. And then when the creatures start getting closer, I'll shapeshift out, blow one in the back with the shotgun, and use my bolt caser to set off the recycler charge.
Yep. That's cool, though.
It's a lot of fun.
Have you ever played any of the BioShock games?
Yes, I have,
okay.
And it's very much feels like those.
That's what I was going to ask, because I know that a lot of people were making a lot of references to BioShock in space, also some like System Shock in there as well.
It's got the same feeling of helplessness almost.
Yeah.
Because you're trapped in a place that you know nothing about.
Right, totally.
Because that's what your character is. Your character doesn't fucking know about what this place is. And it's very... I'm still not sure how it's going to end. Even though I've played well over 30 hours of it. I have no idea where it's going to end.
Yeah, I've heard that the ending of... one thing I should tell you, Jackson, is wait till after the credits.
Okay.
Yeah, don't skip the credits. Wait till after them. Because apparently there is a scene that kind of ties a whole lot of things together.
Yeah, because there's one fucking question that's burning in my mind right now. Who the fuck is December?
Right, yeah.
And why did January kill him?
I haven't played the game, but I'm not sure that's in it.
I need to know.
Okay, cool.
Because November was afraid of January.
No, it's 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, I don't think...
He's doing his best.
He's doing his best. On that note, Liam, hi, hello. It's been 2 weeks. How are you, sir?
Howdy. Yes, I'm doing pretty well. I have 2 weekly games that I'm running now, and a cat cafe just opened up in my neighborhood, so that's pretty sweet.
Oh my god. I've been to the one in Orlando. It's incredible.
Oh man, I want to visit now.
What is a cat cafe?
You don't know what a cat cafe is? It is literally a coffee shop that has a bunch of house cats that you can just
How
like
dare
pet
you?
while you drink
Are you
coffee.
just a wannabe weeb?
Oh my god. No, I'm not even I'm not a wannabe anything.
Yeah,
Holy crap, that's amazing, Liam.
Megan, just Google cat cafe. I'm sure you'll see. You
And
witness them.
of course, the cats are all up for adoption, so like half of them are already gone in the first week.
Right, and that's kind of like the deal with the cat cafes is like it's like a cool place to go, but also adopt. Instead of like going to the pound, and the cats get interaction with people, so yeah, it's pretty awesome. Anything else?
Indeed.
Oh my god, some of the names for these cat cafes are adorable.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's a fair summation. I'm still catching up on what exactly I missed last week.
Yeah, I actually wanted to talk to you about that. There is a specific reason why that was brought up that you weren't expecting to be brought up, and it has to do with Farron's goals in life already. If you didn't watch the last episode, which is
I
totally
do not have
fine.
time.
It's 4 hours of your life you'll never get back.
We can say that about every week.
True. But I mean, at least if you're live and playing, it's a little bit more fun, right? There was that. You also a thing that you witnessed was what you suggested to me, that you would want to coordinate a very quick assault against the enemy is occurring with Hannibal at its helm.
Okay.
Yep, right,
we
he's a
did
general
that.
now.
Yep.
I'm a general, fucker.
Yeah, and essentially everybody is in attendance for that, aside from you and Aelin. There was some interesting things that happened with Aelin that you were... I forget, Farron, did you actually tell Arkady about any of that?
I think
you might have offhandedly mentioned it, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
there wasn't like a full-on conversation. Essentially, you know that something happened during the battle, and the common folk were treating Aelin very strangely, almost worshipping her to some degree. So something happened. That's basically all you know. But you did witness, kind of towards the very end of the session, Cahill carrying Aelin into the tavern, who appeared to be like kind of faint from exertion. And so that's another thing that you witnessed while you were gone. But that's essentially it. We cleaned up the battle. For your portion of it, you did exactly what you were intending to do. You leading the golem over to the priests in Cahill, and they slaughtered him for you, and you came out none the worse for wear. Because, I mean, let's face it, you're amazing.
Tuesday.
Right, yeah, exactly. And so that's essentially where we left off. We left off with the 4 party members who were going on this raid. Morella, Farron, Hannibal, and Kree were leading 3 separate units. They were leading the Lizardman Cavalry, the Knights, which is like the 100 Knights that you have on retainer, and also a large portion of the Warhound company with all of their handlers. And you were leading the Warhounds because you know that they also had hounds of some sort, maybe or maybe not, with 2 heads. And also they would be really effective against assaulting, unsuspecting Norsemen. So those are the 3 units you guys are kind of heading off with. And Arkady and Aelin, you guys are still back at the village. And so I think that probably most appropriately we should just go ahead and pull that one over there. So you see, I kind of set it up. I finally did some work on getting some tokens and stuff. There's a Lizardman Cavalry token now. You see that? Isn't it beautiful?
Where's my men?
Well, so you don't really have men. You have all of the men, right? Because you're in charge of everybody.
Oh yeah.
That's why you're up front. And you guys are en route to where the Norsemen are known to be, and you have had contact with Dane And also, some of the other spellcasters have had contact with their familiars in reference to, like, location, positioning, that kind of stuff. And there has been relatively no change to their particular positions, even after the Battle of Middenstag that we encountered. But we know that it's going to take basically until the, like, wee hours of the morning, because you have to travel, 10-ish miles or so to get over there. And, you're going to be quite tired, and none of you are going to be able to get a long rest while you do that. You'll be able to get a short rest, so just FYI, you'll be able to have that at least. But the long rest is going to be something that is going to not be available to you.
Got it.
So if you guys want to go ahead and, roll up your stuff for short rests, and regain your stuff that you would require for short rests, that would be just swell.
So,
I can't remember if my, what's it called?
Only your warlock spells return.
No, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Sorcery points higher level needed.
Yeah, I don't think he's used any sorcery points. You haven't used any sorcery points, like, at all, I don't think, right?
I think he gets them at level 2.
Oh, is it
I
level
get
2?
them at level 3.
Level 3, okay.
No, you get them at 2. You'll get meta magic at 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cool.
Also, do Tied to Chaos or Long Rest? Shit.
Yeah,
Yep.
but here's the deal: is you've used it. So if you use a sorcerer spell slot, you can regain it.
I don't have any more sorcerers.
Okay, well then you've used it.
Well, that's the
Wait, have I? What the fuck?
aspect of long rest spells.
I don't think I actually have. Hold on, let me check.
Yeah, check it.
But,
I think you've only used Hex once, I think.
Nope, you are right. I've only used it once.
Yeah, so if you use that spell slot, then I can impose the roll on you, and then you can gain it back. So.
Yeah, I was confused for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm just going to assume that Farron is definitely doing the Song of Rest because it's most befitting in this situation.
I think on the road, whenever you guys stop to, like, get food in your bellies and maybe a hot cup of tea before you charge into battle, that's where Farron would have the ability to do that, yes.
Okay, then I would be at full with Song of Rest. That
Cool.
That die roll was 1 off from my max HP.
It sucks.
But Song of Rest. Clutching again, Farron.
Along the way, I would like to try to get a better feel of what the dogs can do.
Okay.
And to facilitate this, I'll use this.
Okay. That's a good one. I like that one. So what do you said get a better idea of what the dogs can do, but what are you...
What I mean is, like, I want to figure out what they're willing to do. Because animals are very flighty. And I just kind of want to understanding, are these dogs capable of
so
running at?
luckily these dogs are warhounds, and they are trained specifically for this job.
Okay, cool.
And very few mixed in are like hunting hounds as well. But they're not going to matter in the grand scheme of things. Most of these are hounds trained for combat. Some of them even probably have like leather armor and stuff fashioned for them. Maybe like the leader of the packs, right? Because how it's kind of broken down is there's a trainer and then or a handler, right? For about every 20 to 50 animals that form what they call packs, right? And then these packs operate kind of in congruence, but in the grand scheme of things, as a fighting unit. And yeah, it's pretty well organized.
Okay. Another thing too, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
How are the Norsemen good with ranged attacks?
So they do have a variety of capabilities for range attacks. Some of them definitely carry bows. They prefer to fight up close, but they definitely could have a couple of contingents of like archers or javelin throwers or axe throwers as well.
But they're not. There's more. You would say that there's less focus on range.
Yes, there's definitely less focus on range.
So
People
you
who have
them-
those things probably only use them like Morella uses hers to get in closer to combat. when she's out of range.
To us, would we have a better range regiment than what they would have?
With this particular group of units, kind of, but really you're looking at the knights, the ones that do have bows, because firing longbows from horseback is obviously a very difficult thing. So the ones that have short bows, maybe. The Lizardmen cavalry probably have a few more, but you're kind of in the same boat as the Norsemen, I think. Just because these are all mounted units, and you've chosen these units to travel quickly so that you can perform this alpha strike kind of at a rapid rate.
Okay.
So you don't have a whole lot of range potential.
All right, and what about in terms of magic?
Well, so there are probably a few spellcasters. Not many, but a few innate spellcasters, like ones that probably aren't particularly suited. Like, they're not an actual, like, full-on spellcaster, maybe. So, like, bards, or maybe, like, a couple of rangers or priests in the ranks of the Lizardmen. But nothing specifically for, like, large spellcasting units.
Okay, cool. Alright, I understand.
You basically have, like, the lighter cavalry in the Lizardmen, the heavy shock troops in the Knights, and then you have the hounds, who are, the rapid kind of chase assault forces.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
Cool. So, we all good on that? Farron, you got all your stuff? Marilla, you're good? Kree, you're good?
Yep.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think dawn breaks. Everybody back at Minstag is resting at this time, right? Just kind of recovering from the battle, recouping. Dawn breaks over the horizon, and you guys are, the four of you that are with the armies are kind of near enough to kind of see where the smoke is, like the little tendrils of smoke are rising from campfires that probably went out overnight and are just kind of smoldering. And so you're kind of within striking distance at this point. But what I would like to know is you've been traveling all night, and obviously you haven't gotten a long rest. And the point of this mission is to kind of hit them hard, kill as many as possible, and get out. So I want to know if there's any like plans formulated, or like you've obviously been put in charge, Hannibal, by Cahill, but Lord Groundberg is also with you. So you guys are kind of equals in this regard, because he's technically a member of the council.
Okay.
And obviously you have your party members here, too, that you can consult with, who will probably, may or may not listen to you when you go into combat anyway.
Yeah.
But is there, like, a meeting that happens, or is there, like, maybe you all are riding together, or maybe it's right now, as dawn breaks, you guys
I've got a little bit of a plan.
Okay, so do you, like, gather everybody, or...?
Yeah, I'd like to gather everybody to see if they are okay with this one.
Okay. So Lord Groundberg's there, and your three other party members, maybe a couple of the lieutenants, like the higher-ups from the forces, like some of the knights, some of the handlers for the dogs, some of the, like, in-charge Great Crests or Sauruses.
Mm-hmm. So, could you tell me a little bit about the land where they're at?
So it's very hilly and rocky, as you can kind of see on the map. There are steep kind of grades to go up and down, but it's all kind of covered in this this kind of grassy, I wouldn't say marshy, but kind of like loamy soil. So most of it is traversable, although obviously charging uphill with mounts is not going to be super beneficial. Vision is really good on top, but really poor in the valleys and stuff. It's probably a bit damp outside. It's definitely a bit humid this time of year in this area. So there's probably a lot of dew on the grasses, which could cause issues, but for both of you, right? There's probably a light mist kind of rolling from the heads of the rivers, because this is kind of the area, and the reason why this is kind of a little bit so lush and grassy is because this is where all the heads of the rivers are. You can see on the map how they kind of trace their way from this whole plainsy area, and the underground rivers and reservoirs and stuff, and then feed into the rivers that lead to the south. So reasonably there are probably like some caverns or caves in here, and we know that from previous as well. We encountered a couple of caverns and caves in Act 1 of this particular campaign. So we know that those exist as well. But not too... there's not too many of those, I should say. Not like enough to hide like an army and have ambushes and stuff like that, but just giving you a general layout of the place.
Yeah, so my plan is I have a spell called Plant Growth. However, instead of using it the way it's originally designed, I could make Overgrowth to allow a portion of our army to sneak up by making everything look overgrown.
Yeah, I think that could definitely work.
And then when we start the attack, we can have more the heavier parts of what we have to begin their attack as well. Basically trying to isolate a part of their forces.
Okay. I mean, like, how are you saying it just like that, basically, to the people that are gathered in front of you?
Imagine more eloquently, but yes.
Okay. Yeah, and I think Lord Groundberg is probably like, he's kind of like massaging his chin. He's like, this could work, Hannibal. Yes, I think so. But I feel as though the knight should be in this overgrowth of yours. If this plan is to fail, we need to have a contingency, and the knights are the most heavily armored, able to get out of danger themselves, should these savages suspect anything.
Yes. Another thought I just had is that I could possibly use V-Speech and Thaumaturgy to call the horses if things start to get bad. Because we can't have the horses going through the undergrowth. They couldn't really sneak through it.
Very true.
So
they could probably be led, right?
Yeah.
So actually, maybe it's better for the dogs even.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like the dogs could obviously make their way through.
Yeah, I think Lord Groundberg sticks with his suggestion, but only because he's not aware of the limitations of it, right?
Yeah.
Does anybody else chime in? All right, good. Yeah, Hannibal, your plan seems great. I guess nobody else cares.
Right.
Who else is present?
It's everybody but you and Aelin.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Not
Sounds
much.
good enough.
Surprisingly well making a thought-out plan for once, which I think has got us all speechless.
Actually, Merlot isn't speechless. She knows that Hannibal is a smart man, even though the time that we spent together doesn't seem to suggest that. She does know that he's a smart man. Like, she does know this. So, him coming up with this plan is maybe a little shock, as it's a little bit more well thought out for someone without military experience, but it's still, like, not unfeasible for her.
You're more just surprised that he actually thought seriously on something.
Yeah, he cared. Yes. He cared about this enough to consider it worth his time, because he takes his personal stuff very seriously. Like, his dedication to his quote unquote deity and stuff like that. He takes very seriously, obviously. So yeah, I think that everybody in attendance is okay with that plan, Hannibal, and so you begin setting it up. So what do you want to do? Do you want to split the dogs, because not all of the dogs are going to fit in there. You have like a contingent of 840 units of dogs. But if you wanted to, you could split it.
Yeah, that would work. We could split it and then have the other. Why don't we just mainly use hunting dogs? You said that we have a contingent of hunting dogs?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all mixed in and count as the same unit, but yes.
Okay, maybe we can use ones where they're more heavily on that outside the growth, because they imagine they'd be stealthier.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems great. Put the somewhat lesser trained animals in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so actually, you know what? Yeah. Okay. And I'm gonna put.
And I would like to, at this point, order Dane to actually infiltrate the camp invisible.
Okay.
Begin.
What is his job here?
His job is to identify the leaders.
Ah, okay. So you want him to start picking out some good targets for you guys. Sounds good.
Yeah, so we can focus fire on those.
Dan is hunting.
Yeah, correct. Yes, that is accurate. Dane is hunting. Here we go. That's what I wanted. There's some dogs and some cover. Are you laughing, Farron?
Of course not.
Is there something funny to you?
I think it was Liam's comment.
So I think that as Dane begins hunting, I think it is probably appropriate to get back to Middenstog for something going on over there, or some stuff going on over there. So morning dawns, and Aelin, you awaken, and you find yourself in a room in the tavern. And so you kind of get your bearings and look around, and you see at, like, the desk chair, but kind of, like, slumped over with an arm resting on the desk, is Cahill. He's asleep, but kind of restlessly so, and you can also see he's still in his full, like, armor. Kind of, like, leaning on his hand, and maybe, like, lightly snoring a little bit.
Yeah, I think once Aelin gets her bearings and sees Cahill over there, I think that she would stand up very quietly and actually try to exit the room without him noticing. Because if he is, in fact, even slightly asleep, she wants to let him get a few moments rest.
Sure. Yeah, roll a stealth check. He's
It's going to be bad.
He's pretty exhausted, though, so you've got an okay chance, I think.
Wish me luck.
No.
Hey.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, you can totally sneak out of there, and like you open the door and it creaks once, and you like look over quickly, and Cahill just kind of like mumbles or something, and like maybe he like rests his head all the way down on the desk now, instead of like propped up, and you exhale a breath and you slip out and close the door. And I think as you do, you like then you turn around and you see that there's like 3 guards still in like their armor and stuff with their weapons, and they're kind of just like kind of dumbfoundedly like looking at you as you like slipped out of the door as you turn around, and yeah, they just they're like my lady, good morning.
Galen kind of like adjusts the front of her robes and just says, "Oh, good morning, gentlemen." And awkwardly like starts to walk by them.
Yeah, they don't stop you. They don't know what to do.
No, of course.
They're obviously here to guard Cahill. Right? They're obviously here to guard Cahill, but they certainly did not expect you to come out of the door, right? Like that was
scandalous.
That was the thing they weren't expecting. And so you proceed downstairs, where I think it is probably appropriate for Arkady to be taking his morning coffee, or whatever you take in the mornings, Arkady.
Vodka.
Right, it might be straight vodka. I'm not sure. And it's pretty.
Not under the circumstances. Has he slept at all?
That's for you to decide. It was quite a tumultuous night.
Okay, so he got like half an hour's sleep at some point.
Yeah, you may have rested for a while, but yeah, nobody got a full night's sleep in existence here, right? Like, but yeah, maybe it was one of those things where like the adrenaline was too high and you just couldn't fall asleep until like the very early morning, and then like all of a sudden your internal clock was like, "Hey, it's time to wake up," and you're like, "Well, shit, I guess I'm up now."
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, so Aelin arrives, and
yeah, she comes down the stairs.
Good morning, Lady Ashriber.
Good morning, Arkady. You're just the person I was looking for, actually.
Oh, how convenient. You had a good night?
As well as can be expected in these circumstances, I guess. And she would go over and sit down next to you, kind of conspiratorially.
Yeah, sure. A servant probably comes up and is like, my lady, would you like a cup of tea or perhaps some calf?
No, I'm quite fine, thank you.
Very well. And kind of like bows and backs away, and it's pretty much the two of you in here. There might be like a couple of like lieutenants who are maybe like been drinking heavily since the battle, who are like basically incoherent, half passed out in the corner.
They're basically not there anymore.
Yeah, they basically don't matter. And just like servants probably milling about getting breakfast ready as they can.
So I had a bit of a troubling encounter while you all were fighting in town. And I think as she's doing that, she's like kind of like searching around in her pocket for something.
Petrov is absolutely playing completely unconcerned and deadpan, but to the degree where it's clear that it's affected. Oh, really? I understand that you have performed some act which has caught the attention of villagers, yes?
I merely did my best to keep them alive. Apparently they are grateful. And I think at that point she actually finds what she's looking for and places the top on the table and just kind of slides it over to you.
Yeah, and as you place it on the table...
just tries to, like, see what your reaction is.
Yeah, and it stands on its point as you place it on the table. And if you, like, place it on its side, it kind of slowly rights itself. And you slide it and place it in front of... and it's standing perfectly still and not spinning at all.
Do you recall Mel, our traveling companion?
Most certainly.
Yes, well, she gave this to me very shortly before the commotion, and she told me that it was a type of warning device of sorts for very powerful beings. Just before I had an encounter with, and she kind of pauses and actually visibly shivers, and then she tries to correct it and keep her poise. She says, a being, this was spinning. Apparently that's what it's supposed to do. Have you ever heard of such a thing?
Most magical things that are outside my realm of expertise is very useful to have Farron around. I think he pokes at it with like the end of his spoon just to see if it rights itself again.
Yeah, so it falls over and then it slowly rights itself. And it doesn't do the thing like where it rocks back and forth. It comes straight up and just sticks straight upwards.
Did Mel perhaps mention the reason she would think you needed this?
If I recall correctly, she simply thought that I could be of more use to it or would understand it better, but now I'm not quite so sure. What is it that you know about her again? Did you have any contact with her before she started traveling with us?
Not that I can recall. She claims to be entirely unimportant in grand scheme of things whenever possible, yes? I feel Farron may know more. He certainly has, well, perhaps now less attached, but devoted considerable time to her.
Aelin, clearly thinking, is just nodding and agreeing with you. And she says, there is one encounter I had with her. I haven't told anybody yet. Quite back a ways when we were traveling, she and I were by the river, and we were talking just like normal, but as I went to walk away, it was as if she pauses for a moment, trying to figure out the words to use, and says, as if she were momentarily possessed by another. She spoke in a very strange way and told me to, if I recall correctly, beware her power. Seems a bit strange, no?
This seems outright threatening, but this is... I am having trouble knitting these points together. She was possessed by a being and threatened you. Then she gives you this to warn you of some kind of entity, and you seem deeply uncomfortable that it may have worked.
I'm just confused more than anything. I've never really experienced someone like Mel, and this whole thing is confusing as to why she has chosen to tell me this information.
Has she ever explained? This information she has given you seems sparse at best.
No, and we really haven't had even much time to speak in between those moments. She seems to disappear whenever I am trying to find her.
Yeah, and also, if I recall correctly, she seemed very unaware of what happened when that incident occurred.
Right, immediately following.
Yeah, you like immediately said, "What did you say?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" She did the whole, I was just sitting here not saying anything.
Right.
I'm trying to remember if we've ever seen Hannibal's patron speak through his familiars.
I don't know if any of you have actually ever seen that before.
I specifically go off alone.
Yeah, I think Hannibal does a really good
so.
job at like hiding that because he doesn't want it to seem demonic. Because then you would have to kill him.
He managed to keep that spike in his chest secret for a good long time.
True.
Mm-hmm.
The one person who died. Sorry.
Yes, it's a shame. That was such an accident.
We've really determined Hannibal actually put a curse on Vi.
It's okay. She'll curse. She'll haunt him forever.
Yep, it's true.
Well, I have enough people haunting me.
I would not dare to guess at Mel's intentions, but if there is some being that may be pursuing her, possessing her, perhaps she feels you could use this to find it. She approached you, not a hunter, not a warrior, a healer. Perhaps in some way she seeks rescue?
Yes, this would seem the case, wouldn't it? I wonder where she is now.
In this, I'm trying to remember if I know what you said it reacted to.
Powerful being? Or powerful magical being?
Specifically powerful religious and divine being. Like, divine magic, specifically.
And you say it responded to something last night?
No immediate response. And then I think Aelin says...
Do you kind of like zone out looking at it?
It's kind of one of those long, deep breath in kind of situations. And then, she just says yes. In a very quiet voice, much quieter than what she's been using.
Is there some reason I should not know what it was? Have you told no one?
To be honest, I'm a bit hazy on the specifics myself.
But you encountered something as you were evacuating villagers, yes?
Without a doubt.
Who knows this? Where has it gone? This may be important information for the force we have now sent. Perhaps you have mentioned it to Lord Cahill?
We have, not really had a chance to speak at length. I plan on it, but he was sleeping when I woke up.
Ah, of course.
I believe Daniela might know more than she's telling me, but I slightly fear asking her for the specifics.
I could speak to her if you wish. I cannot imagine what more assistance I could offer. I am no priest, no expert on the divine. Or the profane, if that is what you saw.
I more or less just needed somebody to talk to about it, Arkady. I thought that you were a good candidate. I appreciate you listening.
I appreciate your estimation, but I feel I have not been very helpful. If you would like me to speak with Danielle, or perhaps if Mel is focused on avoiding you, perhaps I could find her by other means.
Yes, that actually would be rather helpful.
This I think I can do.
I think she just kind of zones out, staring at the top.
Yeah, Petrov reaches out and just sort of waves his hand between your eyes and the top. Are you well? Are you certain this has not had some effect on you? You look near bewitched.
She snaps out of it, obviously. She quickly takes her hand and snatches the top and puts it in her pocket and just says, in her very traditional Aelin style, "Oh yes, Arkady, I am just fine. I must just be tired from the whole thing."
And we all.
Yes, indeed. Well, I must be off to find Daniela. I'm sure she's worried about me.
Certainly. Are my spear maidens on hand?
Yeah, absolutely. They're probably not. They're probably like right outside the doors.
Didn't you send them with me?
I don't know. I wasn't there for that.
I don't know if that's true. Did I send them with you?
I think you did.
I might have.
I mean, they do hate leaving me. On the other hand, they're much better at fighting, so...
Oh, no, I think one went with you, and the other one stayed.
Okay, which one stayed?
Kira is still here.
The halfling?
Correct.
Excellent, the one that's harder to spot. So, moments after Aelin has left, Petrov will just step out and say to Kira, do your best to keep eye on Lady Ashriver today, will you? I fear she may be in greater need of guarding than I.
Yeah, and I think that you see Kira, like, her eyes track Aelin, who's kind of like walking perhaps a bit stiffly down the roadway, and she looks and she says, "Is there anything in particular I should look out for?"
You recall Mel, who traveled here with us?
Vividly.
If you see her, let her know that I have important offer to make her.
She just gives you a nod and a slight bow and kind of casually, like, straps her spear across her back and, like, kind of walks with her hands in her pockets as if to seem inconspicuous and kind of blends into the morning haze that kind of fills the... Yep, exactly.
Loud.
Not
Cool.
loud enough.
Awesome.
Okay, I guess Petrov will just wait there for Cahill to eventually emerge.
Yeah, and so I think that it's probably a good opportunity to flash back over to the rest of the group. So Hannibal, you've got your overgrowth working. Half of the hounds are kind of piled in there, waiting for an order of some sort, right? And go ahead and roll me a investigation roll with Dane. And this will be his hunting check.
You got this, Dane. I believe in you. Would it be investigation or perception?
It's investigation. It's not just looking at things, it's identifying things and figuring out. 16 is pretty good.
Nice.
So you are definitely able to identify a lot of the leaders. You can tell, like, there's a couple of different clans here. It's obviously, not all of these men are from a single clan. And you're also able to identify, and I'll actually go ahead and reveal this on the map so that you guys can see it, because Dane is gathering all this information. So there are definitely some dog handlers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's obviously these the war horses as well, kind of the skeletal war horses though. As far as numbers go, the men seem quite numerous. There's probably, Dane estimates, about 1,000 of them here, kind of milling about in these early morning hours. Also, he notes that not all of them, there's too many of them for the war horses. So only some of them will have mounts in a battle, and if you hit them before they have mounts, then there will be much more disarray before they can kind of muster that up. The hounds are not quite as numerous, and they do have these nasty two heads, maybe like 200, 150 of them kind of scattered throughout, and it looks like they're kind of integrated as well. Like, some of the clans have hounds, some of them don't. So it's reasonable to assume this is kind of a singular fighting unit, just with a couple of different types of enemies in it.
In that case, I would like to inform the dogs. I want you to focus and use me by beast speech. And
I mean, yeah,
their handlers.
Obviously not to all 800 of them, but yes.
Yeah, like I'm going to tell this to dog handlers too.
Yeah.
Focus fire on the dogs and the leaders.
Okay, so you want them to kind of be the hunters and seek out the lieutenants and stuff in the army.
Yeah, lieutenants, and also I want them to keep the dogs at bay from attacking army.
Okay, yeah. Keep them from counterattacking.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And I think that the one thing else that Dane identifies, there does not appear to be a singular, like, general or captain. Again, it looks like it's just there's probably like 4 or 5 different clans here, but there's doesn't look like there's anybody like in charge per se.
Okay, in that case, I'll inform the men. I'll give the description on like the more important people to the men, and say that you'll get a bonus if you're able to take them out.
Yeah, so you describe like in detail, like, you know, this man who's got like a handprint painted on his face, and this one who doesn't wear a shirt and wields 2 battle axes, and like, you know, you describe a couple of the lieutenants and tell them they'll, you know, gain a boon if they slay those men in particular. Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yep.
So what other preparations do you guys need to make?